Well, folks, Six Nations Super Saturday, the first of the three games, and what was being dubbed the Battle of the Spoon, sees the Italians get another away win in Cardiff and avoid that sixth spot. The Welsh have been whitewashed in their Six Nations campaign for 2024. Bit of a game of two halves. We'll go through some key events and some stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts. I guess only one side was going to get the fairy tale. Was George North going to get to go out on a high? Or were the Italians going to, have one of their best campaigns ever in the Six Nations? Well, it's the Italians. George North gets to run out onto the pitch for the last time. He comes out first. That was a really kind of touching moment for him. But that was about as good as it got in the first half for the Welsh because not a lot went right. And sometimes it was honestly comically bad. Like I got up at 3:15 in the morning to watch this one, and I just wasn't sure if I was still asleep watching Wales just make compounding errors. Ioan was looking dangerous initially from some kick return. Couple of breakdown penalties for the Italians mean they go 3-0 up, then 6-0 up when Wales get a chance in Italy's half. Tompkins with a knock on, like Thomas Williams just chucks the ball straight to his knees, and then from the resulting scrum, Italy get a penalty. Rutzer goes close from a resulting line out, which is basically goes back to the Welsh knock on in their own half. Offloads Garbisi and Menoncello, Ioan advantage from phases, and eventually Ioan goes over. It's two sides operating at different levels at the start of the game, so it's an 11-0 lead with the misconversion, but it's all Italy early on, and if not for a much changed second half, Italy would have run away with this one easy. So in a way, there is still encouraging sides for the Welsh based on the second half, but it's like that Scotland game again. You can't give yourself a big lead to chase down with this young team and expect them to chase it down every time. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, as they get a bit more experience at international level, they won't find themselves doing this. But how good was it to see from the Italians? I mean, their scrum continued to dominate. Wales did have a weak counter on some turnover ball, but Lamaro was able to win another penalty at the breakdown. You had, this is again, I'm talking about these comical moments where there's a kick, high ball through, and Winnett and Costelow just collide with each other because they can't decide who's going to take it. I think it should have been Winnett's ball, but it didn't cost them because they were able to kind of get an exit when the Italians put in a high tackle. But even before the Italian high tackle, the Welsh were kind of guilty of doing what they did last week in their own 22, just seemingly aimlessly running around waiting for someone to exit in their own 22. It was bizarre stuff to see a Warren Gatland coach side looking just that kind of deer in the headlights feeling. 38 minutes, another penalty to break down, one last chance for Wales before half time. But Tompkins knocked that one on in the tackle as well. I think it was Garbisi that kind of got him with a bit of a high strip. So, and then Wales conceded another penalty at the scrum time. So, yeah, man, Italy going with a decent halftime lead. Wales are scoreless. The possession's been 53-47, territory 46-54, so pretty even. But Wales have had double the knock-ons, 8-4. They've only had one clean break to the Italians' 4. They've conceded 7 penalties to the Italians' 4. So Italy are very much good value for their lead. And then, even though Dyer starts the second half looking dangerous, it's the Italians who get the first score. Because it was a neck roll from the Welsh guys again. Like they were hot on attack. And a Welsh neck roll means the momentum is shut down. It's Italy get a chance for a free exit, and they immediately punish them for it as well. The hands through the back line, man, and then Ioan with the kind of initial break gets it to Pani, who's got a nice, sweet run. We kind of half-step to beat the final man, so 18 points to nil. That's starting to look like a very bad scoreline. But I think that's maybe when like the Welsh actually kind of bring it up a gear. I mean, they did have a penalty missed touch. I think it was Costelow who took the penalty for touch. He missed it, but the Italian clearance didn't go that far anyway, so they had decent field position. But then I think it was Grady that put in a high tackle, so it's a bit of a let-off. But they're down the right end of the field. They're attacking. Brex wins a penalty at the breakdown on a Winnett carry. So another exit. Wales go 13 phases. Then I think it's Gareth Tomos with a penalty in at the side. So take out these errors and Wales have got a bunch of chances to score, but the Italian defence was ferocious. There was one point when Vincent, who'd come on, like he put in a massive tackle to stop the Welsh guys right on their own line. So a lot of pressure from Wales. I mean, the Italians, when they did have the ball, were quite happy to set a really slow ruck. Page-Relo would come on, just put in a nice high box kick, just running down the clock, seeing out the game, playing safe, no need for anything stupid. And then when they were down their own end, it's desperation tackles, it's penalties at the breakdown. I mean, Thomas Williams and Rio Dyer probably should have scored that one when Vincent made that desperation tackle. But yeah, I think it was Lamaro that cleared the ball as well. But hanging on for grim death, the Italians, they did finally concede some points. It looked like Wales had been held up on 63 minutes. I checked the stats, and at that point, Wales had 70% territory and 65% possession in the second half. So they were absolutely camped on that Italian line. But Elliot D gets himself over. It looked like he'd been short, but then I think the Italian guys trying to hold him up actually kind of pulled him forward to the line, because it looked like otherwise it might have been a double movement, but they ruled it was the Italians that had kind of pulled him. So try time. The crowd goes absolutely wild. They haven't had a lot to cheer about. 18 points to 7. But then, as the Welsh momentum's building, another error. It's a knock-on at line-out time. Means it's another Italian exit. Garbisi takes a long shot at goal on 70 minutes, which means it's 21-7 because he nails it. That's a 14-point lead. So Wales need to score 2 converted tries just to bring it to a draw. And then 73 minutes, Page-Relo takes a long shot, even longer at goal, and he nails it. So 24-7. Now, let's see, 3-score game. They did get 2 of them, though. They got 2 of them too late. Will Rowlands gets one. It's a consolation try right as George North gets himself injured, which is unfortunate. But Rowlands did inject some proper punch from the bench. 24-14. And George North, the only good thing about him getting injured at the end of the game, because I was thinking the game's gone. It'd be nice to at least see George North get a try where he got injured. But at least he kind of got that ovation moment where he could feel the love of that Welsh crowd one last time. But 24-14. And then Grady was able to get the final consolation one from a little dink over the top from a box kick. And he's got some footballing skills, old Mason Grady. So the scoreline looks a lot more respectable with those final 2 scores, 24-21. Could have been 24-7 if not for them. But there you go. Run meters finished 372 to 309. Wales were down run meters at halftime. Clean breaks finished 4-5. Remember, it was 4-1 to Italy at halftime. So the second half, Italy certainly didn't have as much going on. They only managed 1 clean break in the second half, whereas Wales managed 3. Possession finishes 61-39. Territory 58-42. But second half, man, Wales 68% possession, 71% territory. They'll be kind of disappointed they didn't get more. But as I said, the Italian defence was just hanging on. Desperation at the breakdown, desperation at tackle time. They didn't want to concede any points, and it showed. Turnovers conceded 17-13, with Wales conceding more. The Italians made 207 tackles to Wales' 108. So it's defence in that second half, built on that first half lead that won the game. Penalties conceded 13-9. The difference maybe the scrum count, I would guess, because there was at least 2 or 3 penalties conceded there at scrum time. George North in his final game, 47 metres, 3 defenders beaten. Like I said, shame to see him go off injured. It's been a hell of a career. Hope he enjoys the rest of his time in rugby before he decides to hang the boots up completely. But yeah, gets a standing ovation at the end. Dyer looked the most dangerous of the Welsh players. 56 metres, 2 clean breaks, 4 defenders beaten. Tommy Reffell, 15 from 16 tackles. But man, these Italians, Lamaro, 21 out of 22 tackles. Top tackler again. Brex, 13 tackles. Menoncello, 11 tackles. Ioan, most dangerous guy on the pitch, maybe. 4 clean breaks, 4 defenders beaten, 58 metres. Gets himself a try. Yeah, well done, Italy. Good way to see out their campaign. And man, if they'd gotten that bloody win over the French, could have been even better. Wales, as I said, whitewashed, but it's a young side. It's got some promising stuff there, but that was one of the worst first halves they'll ever play. You can't be doing that and expect to get a result. So if they played the entire game like they played the second, it could have been a different story, but that's not how the game works. But anyway, They'll play the Aussies later on in the year, which will be an interesting tour because both those sides seem to need a bit of a rebuild. And I think the Italians have got the Japanese lined up, which could also be an interesting one to see how they go against Eddie Jones's men. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts, and I'm going to get ready to watch the Irish take on the Scots. You guys take care, and talk to you again soon. Ciao.